Welcome to the Divorce Dad Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy.
I'm Scott Levy.
This is our first show after the weekend. I don't know how much NFL football you watched over the Super Wild Card weekend, but if you did watch any of it, you heard The Weeknd every 10 seconds on every commercial ever, because The Weeknd is playing the Super Bowl halftime show, right? So how many times did you hear, "Ooh, I'm blinded by the light," you know that song?
Yeah,
Right.
I heard a better version, but yes.
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to play the better version because
Yeah.
he's playing the Super Bowl. So I decided to play the old man version for you, which we're also not allowed to play, but you know, whatever. We have applause. It's a live show today.
Right. Live
studio audience.
Studio
behind me. All right, listen. Do you know who this is?
Madman, drummers, bombers, and Indians in the summer.
Bruce.
Teenage diplomat.
Happy Old Man New Jersey to you.
In the dumps where the mumps is the adolescent.
I mean, give the guy credit, man.
You know what song this is?
He's still cranking out tunes. The Weeknd.
With a boulder on my shoulder, feeling
I don't know.
This is from 2005. You'll get it in a second. I'm just going to leave it on because at this point the ship's already sailed.
Where this very unpleasing
so loud.
Is it? Well, I can turn it down while the other people are listening. So here we go. You ready?
Some old hot half
You have to know the song now.
For the hot spot, snapping his
Just listen to the melody. Everyone listening is like, come on, man. Fred Man, come on. That help you at all?
Man,
Fred Man.
Bro.
I'm leaving it on until you guess it.
Please don't. Please stop playing it.
No, it's coming
I
up.
understand. Oh boy.
Turn up the band, and she was blinded by light.
Blinded by the light.
Runner in the night.
All right.
You didn't know that Bruce Springsteen was the original artist who did, but he wrote that song and had it as one of his songs. It was a very popular Bruce Springsteen song. And then Manfred Mann in the late 80s took that and turned it into like this gigantic hit by like orchestrating it and making it into some weird digital 80s music. Now if you ask anyone like, oh, what's the song about, Blinding Light? They'd be like, oh, it's The Weeknd.
I didn't know any of that. I didn't know I'm not older than Bruce Springsteen. I didn't know any of that. I don't know as much like facts and music trivia as you do. So forgive me. Just because I grew up in New Jersey doesn't mean I know everything about Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi.
Okay, first of all, why you got to bring Bon Jovi into this? He did
he's
nothing
also,
to you.
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying he was, in his day, he was a great New Jersey.
The man is a national treasure.
Jonas Brothers.
First of all, I don't even think they acknowledge that they're from New Jersey.
They should, because they lived close by to me.
Are we going to do this? Are we going to do the most famous artists from New Jersey? Like just musical artists? Because if we did artists, it'd be like incredible. But because New Jersey's like a hotbed of musical talent. Spin Doctors.
Spin Doctors from New Jersey?
Oh my God, the Spin Doctors are from New Jersey. I love how we digress at the beginning of the show. The Spin Doctors are from New Jersey. What people don't know out there, and everyone knows the Spin Doctors, right? Pocket Full of Kryptonite, whatever.
I saw the Spin Doctors when they were first touring when I was in college.
Yeah, no, I know.
100 people.
Well, I saw them probably on the tail end of their careers, also 100 people. But this was at the New Jersey State Fair. And so the New Jersey State Fair back then, there was a racetrack where the Wegmans is in Cherry Hill now, where we went to Panera. That used to be the old.
Yeah, the one that burned down.
Right. Yeah. Well, the one that they burned down for the insurance money. But it used to be a racetrack, an actual active horse racetrack. And then they used the inside for different conventions or whatever. Like I went to a computer show there. My friend bought a bunch of parts to build a computer when we were in high school.
Okay. Land the plane, dude.
You got to talk about how it burned down. Why can't I talk about the computer show? Anyway, so we went there for the state fair, which is amazing if you've ever been to a state fair. The New Jersey State Fair was at the Garden State racetrack. And there was a band playing. We're like, we're going on Saturday because the Spin Doctors were playing. And not only were the Spin Doctors there, They were playing on the track. Like they built the stage on the track and we were all in the stands. There was like 100 people and we were 16, 17 or something. There was like a woman who's probably younger than I am now who was like just dancing up a storm. Like she could not get enough of the Spin Doctors. And
you were
the
not
best part
16. You were not 16 on the tail end of the Spin Doctors run. Sorry.
No, I was 18 probably. It was a short run. They had one album and then they had that second one with like, Cleopatra's Cat, Big Fat Funky Book. Okay. I mean, trust me, I was I had like live albums. I was so into the Spin Doctors when I was in high school. Okay. But one of the Neville brothers played with them. So I bet you didn't get to see the Spin Doctors with one of the Neville brothers.
I did get to see the Neville brothers in person when I went down to see Bry in
now who's landing
at Tulane.
You're flying all the way to New Orleans to end that story.
Well, I went down there for Mardi Gras.
So the Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, Frank Sinatra, gigantic drop off, the Spin Doctors. That's my top four. That's my Mount Rushmore of New Jersey artists, top of my head.
Little Miss, Little Miss, Little Miss, Can't Be Wrong. Wasn't that what it is? Oh my God.
Yes, and that song Can Be Wrong. How are you? How was your weekend? Were you blinded by any lights this weekend, sir?
I had a interesting, fun weekend.
This is cool because this is, I think, a little momentous for for the show. I get to ask you how your weekend was, not knowing what happened, because you used to be a boring fuddy-duddy where it'd be like, I hung out with my kids and watched basketball, and I'm like, cool. Now you have like actual like stories to tell on the show, right? Is that true? Are you allowed to tell these stories? What's the rule on you talking about people who you've now gone on dates with? Have you discussed this with them? Because this comes up with every date I go on.
I have not spoken necessarily to them about this, but I also play a different role in this too. So I don't know that I'm not here to like make fun of anyone. I'm actually out there looking for somebody. So some people know about, I haven't been out on that many dates. So I mean,
I'm not here to make fun of anyone. That presupposes, or I guess post-supposes in this case, that I am here to make fun of people, and I'm not here to make fun of people. If anything, I'm here to make fun of myself and the poor decisions that I've made. But I did come to a realization this weekend, Scott, and I think this is smart given my past people wanting to sue me experiences or yell at me online. I think it's one of those things where everyone thinks they're going to get talked about on the show, right? I went out with a woman Friday and she texted me Saturday morning. She's like, oh my God, I'm going to be fill in the blank person on the show now. And she absolutely is. But I think I'm going to wait until after we no longer hang out. Like that, I'm not going to have to break up with anyone. I'm just going to talk about them on the show. And then that's how they'll know that we're done.
Okay. So just to be clear, then I'm not doing that. And that's not how I'm going to roll. But I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem talking about the people. I mean, you and I have been talking a lot about apps and just meeting people and things like that. I don't have any problem talking about people that I didn't go out with.
How's that? Well, all right. Well, I have some fun to do with that in a couple of minutes. Trust me. Yeah, that's the fun part. That's the part that I think I make fun of. How I really, and again, somebody who I've dated is going to text me and curse me off in about 8 minutes. But like, have I made fun of anyone that I've gone out with? Like actively made fun of? Like I've made light of situations, sure. I don't think I've made fun of it.
It's a fine line. You just said you don't have to break up with anyone anymore. You just talk about them on the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, you have. Okay. But it's a fine line at the point to which you do talk about people you've dated. I'd rather not talk about someone that I'm dating, but I'm happy to talk about the people that I'm not dating and that I've connected with and seen their profiles and that, because I think I don't know if it's hilarious. I think that there's some really indecisive / a little kooky a bit of people out there.
A little kooky. That is such a delicate way. You're such a wuss.
I don't think I'm a wuss at all. I'm being a
little kooky.
Being respectful the best I can.
Respectful of who? The kooks? The kooks? Now we're worried about offending kooks.
I'm just you never know what anyone else got going on. How's that?
Oh my God.
I'm mindful of the fact that going through dating is a unique
just
process.
because you have no, just because you don't know what other people have going on doesn't mean you should care. That's the second part of that. We always talk about you never know what anybody else is going on, but sometimes it's not my problem. If you're bitter, if you're sad, if you're angry, and you're going on these dating apps, don't take that out on me. And Scott, we talk about this all the time. The anger and angst and frustration that people have. I'm not saying I'm some great catch. Trust me, I got my own mental issues. I have one here that I was going to show you, but I'll just read it to you instead, and we'll show you the other ones in a minute, Scott. This person I didn't even try to match with because I loved her profile so much. I didn't want to like upset her life. Her name was Alyssa. She's 41 years old. She is works at a law firm, so pretty smart woman, right? She does not want children, so probably not a good fit for me anyway. Her profile, Bumble, quiet, drama-free, and not completely insane. Please also be at least 2 out of those 3. I was like, sorry, I don't even know if I'm any of those 3. I'm definitely not quiet. Yeah. I don't think I'm drama-free and the completely insane. I mean, if there's anyone who's...
And I think that's interesting because I think you and I have been talking about this, and that's sort of been my experience over the past week plus, whatever, that I don't think a lot of people know what they want. And I think sometimes they put what they haven't had before and that's what they want, or they put what they are and they think they want the same exact thing. And sometimes that connectiveness is right. And sometimes it's not. And, I think people build up, we talked about this last time, people build up a great story in their head of the perfect match for them. And then they overwhelm themselves and they panic and they freak out and they get in their own heads, and it's just not a good situation. And what I will say is I don't have a lot of time and I want to spend it the best ways that I can. I don't like wasting my time on things, but as part of the process, and as our old friend reached out to us, I know she reached out to you directly, and I saw her reach out on one of the comments on YouTube when you were talking about chemistry and everything. Like, you have to meet. Like, if there's any chance of having real chemistry, you ultimately have to meet. And I think and she was adamant about that. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if she sent you the same comment directly.
No, I didn't. Are we talking? Are we having a Pam conversation again? Is she?
We are, and bless her. I was going to respond, but I don't know if she would have liked me responding because I feel like she doesn't really love me so much, but that's okay.
Scott, since we're delving into like good quality 80s music, I just wanted to throw another one at you for a second, because you were talking about some people.
Are you gonna play Men at Work?
No, I'm gonna play. You said that sometimes people are looking for a version of themselves, and I'm gonna say, I was told back in the 80s that you're not supposed to mount somebody you want. You
opposites attract.
I mean, if Paula Abdul can date a cartoon cat, there's clearly no opposites attract.
There's no way that this is going to last on YouTube.
Oh, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to see what's going to be the one that's going to, because I get the notification of what. By the way, let me just tell you, and I love this. We put on a full video clip, like a 2-minute video clip of an Oscar nominated movie. YouTube's fine with that. We put on 8 seconds of an a cappella band doing a version of Queen, and it's like, nope.
I have a feeling Paula Abdul and Bruce Springsteen won't make it back.
That Bruce Springsteen thing was live on VH1, and live is always a little bit weird because the algorithm. That's why I always try to find live stuff.
Here, yeah, it didn't sound like him the entire time. It sounded like a tribute band.
Oh, damn! You just went there.
Nice, right?
I will say, full disclosure, to go to the New Jersey thing real quick. Not a huge Bruce Springsteen fan now. I saw him in concert when I was in college or shortly thereafter. It's like a cliche that every sports writer in America is big Bruce Springsteen fan, which is why I rejected it, because I, trust me, worked with a lot of them, especially the ones in New Jersey. But yeah, I am no fan of his Broadway show and no fan of his one-man Netflix Broadway show. It was so self-indulgent, and it's hilarious coming from me. I know for me to complain that someone else is self-indulgent, but opposites attract. So obviously that's why I didn't like that.
That was a fun pun song. I don't believe that opposites attract, but it's just me.
Well, that's where I want to go with this. And again, obviously, as you said last episode, the thing we're talking about today, we're not gonna spend the entire show of every episode on dating, but this is the first weekend since you've been out there again, and I had some interesting experiences. So I wanted to talk about this. You do not think that opposites attract, because that is not just the Paula Abdul song "Dancing with the Cartoon Cat." It's obviously an old adage that you need someone to compliment you, not someone to look yourself in the mirror. And I'm not putting Man in the Mirror on there, because then we're definitely getting kicked off YouTube.
I don't believe opposites attract. I think that a healthy relationship, you each have certain things that you've done, that you have your own unique experiences that make you special and different. But I think you need to want to do things and be like-minded with your partner. I don't think opposites attract. I don't.
Do you feel, take yourself out of the equation for a minute, do you feel that our country and our existence on this earth would benefit from more people trying to acknowledge that opposites do attract? Because I feel like we're in such an echo chamber in the world. Forget about dating and forget about relationships, but you're in such a bubble that when you veer out of that bubble in any way, it's like, this is what the rest of the world is like you forget. And look, I was in one relationship for 20 years, and thank goodness that we had the same political ideals and then the same beliefs on parenting, because it would have made for a very, very difficult existence. Now, the parenting thing, I think you have to be on the same page no matter what. You can't have opposites attract. One person lets the kid, won't let the kid run across the street to get a ball, and the other one's letting him do heroin in the basement. But I mean, maybe that's not the exact opposite of one another, but the point is, you have to be on the same page when you're parenting. But when you're dating, do you have to be on the same page? Because there have been some times where I've had what I feel is like totally different beliefs to someone else, and that's where the fire is. Maybe it's not long term, maybe it's not sustainable.
Yeah, it's whatever you want, of course. If you're looking for a fun couple of dates and self-proclaimed you're great on the first, good on the second, and the third, you talk about them on the show and they break up. Sure, if you want an opposite for a date or two, I'm sure that's very exciting and interesting. This is just not what I'm looking for. So I don't go into it. I think actually, if I go out with somebody and we don't have a lot in common, I'm not interested.
Okay, that's interesting. That in and of itself is interesting. I did I ever tell you about the woman I tried to hate fuck? I never told you on the show. No.
Was it the pregnant one?
No, my God, no. What kind of person do you think I am?
I don't know. Sometimes
it was a Trump supporter. It was right before the election, and I wanted to talk about this on the show, dude, but then something like very serious happened. Like you had something serious happen, or we talked about a very serious topic, like the next episode, and I had it written down on my queue, and I'm like, nope, not going there, because we had I don't know some serious topic that I wasn't going to spin out. Yeah, there was a woman who I matched with, attractive woman, and I saw that not only was she like had conservative on her thing, but she was like full on MAGA hat in like 3 out of the 4 photos and stuff. And I'm like, why is this woman matching with me? I mean, she's trying to match with me. Like, God bless, but like, come on. And then I thought, whoa, wait, hold on. If I'm looking for heat, if I'm looking for like a one time, let me see if maybe I can be the cartoon cat and this could be my Paula Abdul. Maybe opposites attract. And so I was very honest and very upfront. I was not trying to like manipulate this woman. I was like, look, we're not a match. We're not going to hang out. But the election's coming up in a week. There's a lot of aggression on both sides. It might be fun if we hang out and get together one time. I think there would be some fire. And she was like, that's not the type of person I am, but I'll go to dinner with you. And I'm like, oh my God, she said yes. And she's like, I didn't say I would sleep with you. I was like, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Like, come on. And so then we went back and forth on that a little bit. And I think maybe I was a little too eager. And then she ended up, it didn't work out. She's like, well, maybe we could do it in a couple of days. I was like, no, you don't understand. Little did I know the election was going to drag out for like 9 weeks. But I was like, no, the election's on Tuesday. We need to do it before Tuesday. And we couldn't coordinate it. So I lost interest. Yeah.
You didn't.
I was going to do it for the show to see if there's heat. Like, can you manufacture heat? Do opposites attract?
So appreciate you taking one for the team, for the benefit of the show, that you would actually entertain a Trump supporter.
By the way, joke's on me, because I inadvertently entertained a Trump supporter right in this chair behind me a couple weeks ago. You know how I'm a fan of spontaneity. Matched with someone. She seems really cool. She's got some other mental things like I do. And I was like, I want to pick your brain. I want to see how your brain processes information. Fascinated by this woman and how her brain processed information. What she didn't tell me until she was sitting in this chair right behind me is that she's not a Trump supporter. This was 4 or 5 days before the Capitol Hill stuff. So this would have ended no matter what. She's not a Trump supporter. She, quote, thinks he's hot.
What?
And I looked at her. I was like, nope. Anything that was going to happen tonight, which probably wasn't going to happen, but anything that was done. I texted her the next day. I was like, I wish I could get this out of my head, but I can't. I just can't. She's like, I understand. And that was the end of it. That's the last time I'll ever talk to that woman. She thinks he's hot. How can you ever put your lips, face, any part of you on another person who thinks that individual is hot?
I think that's really gross, just physically. But I understand that people are attracted to like power or whatever it may be. Can we move on from speaking about politics though and get back to?
Sure. I had one other story that we only talked about ever on one of our teaser shows. Do you remember this story? The 6 degrees. Or you have to
6 degrees of separation. What? When
no, don't ruin it. Come on. We taped
Exciting.
For people out there. We taped 2 episodes that no one has ever heard. I don't even think. Did you even play it to anybody? I don't know. Maybe like 1 or 2 people on the planet have heard those episodes.
No, I think they're in the archives.
Yeah, and in one of those episodes, it was when I was back on and off dating a woman who lives in and around Atlantic City, who I spent a good amount of time with, and she actually texted me this weekend, and she's very left wing, and she lives in a very right wing town. So this is a hot button topic for her leading up to. So we talk about politics all the time. We're on in Atlantic City, on the top of a casino, overlooking the beach. Beautiful night in the summer, late summer or early fall, amazing. And she decides to spring on me that her ex-boyfriend, before she dated him, dated a woman in Atlantic City who was like a dancer. People know what Atlantic City dancers, what that's code for. That woman, before dating the ex-boyfriend, slept with one Donald J. Trump, which means by 6 degrees of separation, I fucked the president. Well, no, actually, almost not president. So that'll be good. I should have waited like a week to tell that story. No, it's better if he is the president, because otherwise then it's just really gross.
It's gross anyway. Can we stop talking? Can we stop talking about Trump?
I need to. It's cathartic. I need to talk about that because
I'm dead. By the way, you seem to talk a lot of politics with people you go out with. I don't ever talk politics. Like I have so many other things to talk about, and I'm not a politician, so I don't really ever talk about politics.
I'm not a politician either. I guess I've dated a couple, but or thereabouts. What do you talk about then? I'm serious. Life. I don't mean to be.
No.
How is that not life? Like, how is that?
It's not part of my life. Like, it doesn't consume me. Wow. It's what's happened has happened, and you know, it's actually really funny because I was talking to Mom. I went out with somebody this weekend, as you know, and I was talking to Mom.
It wasn't Mom, was it? Oh my God, you didn't go off Mom, did you? That's a whole nother show.
Dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? I wish I could take Mom out on a nice brunch or something. I haven't seen her in forever.
Oh man, I wish you would have said date, because I just would have clipped that and played it over and over and over again. That would have been the headline of the show.
No, I knew you were baiting. I say that. It's okay. But by the way, so what do I talk about? I actually talk about Mom when I'm out with people, because like that's how I am, who I am. Like a lot of who I am is comes from her. We've talked about this before, that I'm much more like Mom. So I talk about stuff like that. I just don't ever talk about politics. And it's funny, the reason why I mentioned Mom is she said to me, she was asking about the date I was on, and she said, is she a Trump supporter? And I said, I don't know. I don't think so. But it didn't come up. She was like, how did it not come up? And I was like, because I don't talk about that kind of stuff, to your point. And she wasn't as, you know, she's not in our world, obviously. So she didn't ask many more questions beyond that. She was like, okay, well, whatever works for you, you know, sweetie. So I was just okay with it in terms of how mom was saying it, but I don't really ever talk about politics. I have way more stuff to talk about.
Can you do me a favor? And you'll say no, but I have to ask you. Can you, if you go out with this woman again, which I don't know if you are or not, but if you do go out with that woman that you didn't talk politics, the one you're referencing again, can you ask her if she thought it was peculiar that you didn't talk politics? And if
I will ask her that.
And if that put in her head, like, oh shit, this guy must be a Trump supporter if he's not talking about how much he hates Trump right now. Because that is like, look, this is not this Scott. This
but
is
what
not.
If she, I don't care. Like he's done. Like his reign of terror is over, and he's done.
1,000% disagree, and this is not the show to have this conversation. His reign of terror has just begun.
Okay. Let me pull that one back. Sorry, that popped out of my mouth.
Just begun.
It was a mistake. No, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. I don't mean that. He's a terrible person. I know he's awful to the country. Blah blah.
I can't believe you would say that.
All I'm saying.
Like honestly, I'm
apoplectic. Okay, all right.
I take the minute to look that up so I can take a minute to calm down.
I'm reeling it back in. No fish on the hook. They stole my bait. I'm reeling it back in.
Jeez, I mean, that line snapped. You're gonna need a new rod. That thing got pulled into the ocean with you.
Okay, all right. In any case, I didn't talk to her about it. I will ask her. I'll report back to you. How's that?
I would like to know, and also this you can answer before you talk to her about this, because I'm interested. I have been accused 2 or 3 times. Most people who I hang out with, I think, understand sort of what I do and understand that the way that I maybe have a conversation is different. You actually told me this weekend, which is awesome, that you were accused of interviewing someone. And you remember that when I said I had the worst date ever, I texted the woman the next day and I was like, that was like a job interview. And she's like, you're right, it was like a job interview. And I'm like, you were interviewing me. All you did was ask, like, how many kids do I have? Do I have 2 girls, 2 boys? And then you didn't understand when I answered that question because, brain capacity. And do you have, are your parents nearby? How many, all this stuff that she was just like checking off a list. She wasn't even listening to my answers. She was just like, she was the HR person before the actual interview. It was like ridiculous. But you said to me this weekend that you do that someone said to you, it's like, you're interviewing me. That's interesting. I know you're looking for something a little different, but that to me is not the way to do it. For me, I'm not judging you. I'm saying for me, that's not the way I would do it.
I mean, for me, look, I'm not speaking directly about you, but I'm speaking generally. If I was just looking to go out and get laid, why would I waste my time doing that? Clearly, I'm not. Clearly, I'm looking for somebody who could be a partner for me. And these things matter. Dan, I've been out here for 8 years. Like I've dated a lot of different people, and I've certainly recognized, clearly I haven't found out what does definitely work, because otherwise I'd be with her. I found out a lot about what doesn't work. And when I go through that, I don't make it, it's not like I'm the HR person going through a list. Like, it's conversational. I talk about things. I ask them about them. I talk about it relative to me. If I'm asking them about their family, I'm talking about my wacky family. And like there's lots of things like they want to know, like, where's your family from? I'm like, oh, where'd you grow up? Like, did you grow up in the same town that you live in now, or did you go away? Where'd you go to college? Like, this is like a normal conversation for me. I want to know that stuff because I think that stuff too. I think you're building a relationship, and that's the foundation of a relationship. If somebody said to me, if in that first conversation somebody said some things that were really off base and were red flags, well, then I wouldn't want to go out with them again.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I feel, and again, I told you this, and I have been accused by 2 people. One, I believe, who I did go out with, and one who I definitely did not go out with, that I do not ask enough questions about them, that all I do is talk about the things I want to talk about. And and the first time I didn't realize it. And I was like, no, that's not true at all. I asked you, and I literally went through, Scott, this woman accused me of not asking questions. I went through 9 questions that I had asked her over just text. And she was like, oh, all right, well, I guess you did ask a lot of questions about me. I'm like, yeah, thanks for noticing. But the point is, I wish I had noticed.
You sort of hide them in the context of your stories. That's the difference. Like, we have different communication styles.
I don't think I hide them. I think it's a natural part of conversation. I'm not interviewing someone. I want them to feel comfortable in the flow of conversation.
Dude, if you were to ask anyone that I've gone out with, I don't think that I don't make them feel comfortable. I think they feel very comfortable with the natural flow of conversation, just because I'm interested in their lives and what they do for a living, and if they have kids, what their kids are like, does not mean that it's uncomfortable conversation. They're looking for the same stuff. They're getting just as much out of me as I'm getting out of them.
No, that's fair. And again, you're at a different point. You have less time to waste, so to speak, or not less time to waste. Well, I guess you are older than me, so theoretically, if everyone, you do have less time to waste. But more to your point is that like you want to get to the point. You're not looking for a good conversation / story / whatever. Your end game in going on these dates is to find someone who you can cuff, who you can have with you for whether it be several months, several years, several lifetimes, or whatever. I'm not going into anything like that, and maybe that'll change. So maybe that's why I'm not.
You've known me my entire life. Do you not think
I've known you my entire life? I've definitely not known you your entire life.
Weird. You've known and met plenty of people that I've dated. Do you not think I have good stories? You think that's what I'm out to get now, is like a good story? Dude, I've got plenty of good stories. I'm tired of like the good stories. I'm moving on to I want someone, as I say, I want someone from my back because it's like eventually it's all the same shit. There's like some just people that do some outrageous things. They're narcissistic. They're selfish. They think they want something amazing when it's in front of them. They no longer want what's amazing. They're bored by whatever. There's a million reasons. I don't want any more stories. Okay, I want my story. I want my story. It's okay. And I think this was part of what I had. I had a conversation with somebody over the weekend, and this always, certain things will resonate with you, certain things will resonate with me or anybody. And I think this fact of being a little bit selfish when you're dating is actually important. I think sometimes I'm not selfish enough. Sometimes I think I'm not selfish enough, and that I am overly amenable to a partner.
Whoa!
Therefore, I know.
Oh my
God. But that's not great sometimes, because then ultimately over time it makes me not that happy because I feel like it's imbalanced. And so when you say opposites attract and all these other things, all I'm saying is that a relationship needs to have some balance. If it's a man and a woman, as that's what I'm looking for, is
okay.
I have my own life, a full life. I could keep living my life on my own. I have no problem with that. I'm self-sufficient, it'd be fine.
Okay.
And I could just do whatever I want. But there are other people who, again, can balance me out. And I know we were sort of joking about this, and I am kind of joking about this, but not really. As I was going through the house this weekend, and I've been in the house for a long time. It makes you a little bit stir crazy, when you're anyone in this time. And I was looking, I was doing stuff that I do. I was cleaning out a bunch of closets and doing clothes for the kids, getting rid of stuff that doesn't fit anymore, doing a lot of laundry, doing running the dishwasher. I have a ton of dishes in the sink, shit in the fridge, whatever. And I just thought to myself, I was like, you know what, like I would happily like scrub someone else's floors if just every once in a while I could have somebody over to like wash my dishes. I just don't want to wash my own dishes all the time. I'm tired of it. Like, I'll wash the dishes. I have a dishwasher, but I think part of this is that simple, is that I want to help somebody else and make their lives a little bit easier. But I want some of it too. I want somebody to just be here to like, I don't want to always take out my own trash. I'm not saying I'm dating to try and get people to wash my dishes and take out the trash.
I think that you are.
No, I think what I'm saying is that those are basic tasks that I just think it's nice when you go to somebody else's house that you don't necessarily have to worry about those, but I'm more than happy to help somebody do that at their house because it's not my stuff. And I think that there's,
well, that always happens,
and they can appreciate it. Yeah, but I think that that's cool. Like, that's good. That's part of the deal. Like, it's like a little bit of an escape for you.
I mean, it's amazing and depressing in many ways that your escape is having someone wash your dishes while you scrub their floor. That's an escape for you. What are you looking for in a relationship? Well, I want to get down on all fours. Yeah. and I want to scrub your floor, spick and span. Oh, cool. I thought you were going to say something totally different.
I'm not you.
Yeah, I don't know what that acronym would be to get on all floors and scrub someone's floor. I'm sure there is a fetish for that. I'm sure you could find a dating app that floor scrubbing. By the way, there are people who you can pay to scrub your floors and people you can pay to do the sex stuff. And then like that episode of Seinfeld, sometimes they're the same person and you don't know what you're paying for. You can probably find that, I'm sure.
I understand that. And that's not my point, obviously. Like, of course I could pay people to do these things. I don't want to pay somebody to do it. I want to do it with someone. I would like, I know you're gonna make fun of me. That's okay. I don't even mind washing my dishes. I'd like to get back to a point this many years later where I'm washing and she's drying. How's that? We're doing it together.
Adorable. And by the way, you should put this as we're updating your profile, and we might do this live on a show. You should put in there, and I'm 100% serious about this because I think it would be amazing, and I think people would really get a kick out of this. You should say, "I'm looking for someone who's into S&M," and then in parentheses, scrubbing and mopping. I mean, honestly,
I know, but that makes it makes it seem like I want somebody to do it. I want to do it with them. Like, I don't mind the manual labor.
Somebody who's into that. Looking for a partner who's into S&M, scrubbing and mopping. You're thinking about it. You look at your face. You're thinking about it. You can go YouTube-ish at Divorce Dad Playbook. By the way, we haven't said this today, and I want to show you, if I may, Scott. Can I show you these the weekend that I had in pictures?
Please.
So I am Dan at divorcedadplaybook.com. Scott is Scott at divorcedadplaybook.com. You can also find us all over the Instagram at divorcedadplaybook is the way you can get in touch with either of us or both of us. We get, as you said, Scott, we get comments on our YouTube page. I need to do a better job of responding to some of them, but there's a lot of ways to get in touch with us at this point. And I appreciate everyone who does. It's really the most fun thing is to respond to people afterwards and get the texts and emails that we get and stuff. Less fun is this. So this image here, Scott, is I told you about this woman. This woman matched with me on, I think this is Tinder. And she had a lot of tattoos, including a face tattoo. And I was like, well, that's a bucket list situation, right? This woman's got a face tattoo. I gotta pursue this. And so what happened was I asked her about her tattoo. She had a giant tattoo of a person on her arm. And we went back and forth like 6 times because I was trying to guess who the person was. I thought it was an old Marlon Brando movie. And then I thought it was Hogan's Heroes. And because it was like a guy in like an old school, like, World War II hat. And she's like, you're way off. And I was like, then who is it? And she said, it's Bear Jew, the one of the guys from Inglourious Bastards, that movie where they go kill Hitler. And I was like, how am I far off at all? I said Hogan's Heroes. The entire plot of the show is like fighting the Germans. I was very close.
Wait, I wasn't listening to you. I'm sorry. I was reading this, and I was seeing the there, and there. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Anyway.
All right. Well, you're ruining the thing because people are reading ahead. People who are listening to the show aren't doing that. Anyway, so I'm going back and forth with this woman on her tattoos, and she says to me, "They're just tattoos. I don't know why you're asking so much. I didn't put that much thought into them." And I'm thinking like, all right, well, this is over right now, because I actually enjoy talking with people about their tattoos.
She didn't put a lot of thought to the tattoo on her face.
Well, I don't think she did. It's just a little spider web coming out of her eye. But the fact is, on her arm, she's got a 5-inch photo of an actor and a character from a movie. And she's like, I didn't put too much thought into it. Why do you keep asking me about that? I'm like, I don't know. You put a giant face on your arm. You don't think I'm going to ask about that? Anyway, so we go back and forth about the tattoos. Then she says to me, enough with the tattoos. Is that all you're going to ask about? I hate when people do that. Just ask about them and I'll answer it and then we'll move on. Like, she's telling me how to talk to her. Then I get to, she's holding in the photo she's holding a phone case, and it's like a trendy phone case. But what I noticed on there is there's a pill that's half red and half yellow. And for people who look that up now, if you go onto any drug website and say, just type in half yellow, half red capsule, it's almost always antidepressants. And as someone who has been on and is on a lot of antidepressants, I'm interested why someone would promote that on the back of their phone case. what I didn't think of, it's that's like a designer case, which is way expensive, and it's either a fake and she like just wants you to think she's cool, or she spent like $300 on a phone case, which is just absolutely ludicrous. So I asked, I'm afraid to ask about the pills on your phone now. And she wrote, it's a, how do you pronounce that? Machino, whatever. I didn't even, I used to have this stuff when I was younger. Machino. Chill pills, which again, she doesn't understand that they're chill pills, which means they're actually antidepressants. But anyway, point being, it's just a designer. And it's just that tattooed people don't generally like to be analyzed about their tattoos. Bullshit, they all do. Simple. That's cool, or no statements at all are generally polite. And change the topic to nitpick my phone case about pills. Oh boy, you are interesting. And I'll excuse the typo because I did that in the next one I'll show you. And I wrote nitpick. All I did was ask about the phone. Like I said, I'm afraid to ask you about your phone case because you're so sensitive about your tattoos. And she wrote, usually people are interested in someone, ask where they're from, THERE, or what they're interested in, THERE, and not say, quote, I'm afraid to ask about the pills on your phone case, LOL. And then she corrected herself from the THERE and put THEIR with a little star. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh yeah, this woman is terrible. I hate this bucket list. I am never putting another face tattoo woman on my bucket list. And I just wrote back, it's there, THEY''RE, but cool. And then unmatched her. It was very cathartic. I usually don't unmatch anyone for any reason, but this woman was out.
Yeah.
Out.
Well, no, I mean, no offense, you know how I feel about tattoos in general, but a face tattoo and you don't want to talk about it, I think that's a
Scott, I didn't even ask about the face. That's the thing. I didn't even ask, like,
oh,
you have a tattoo on your face. No, I didn't even ask about that.
I can't.
All right, one more. We'll do it a little quicker because that was not the worst match I had all weekend. This one was worse. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Dan. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. I'm heading to bed. It's almost 1 a.m. here. Well, we're in the same time zone, Lisa. It's 1 a.m. where I am too. But the reason she brought that up is because this woman is from Ohio. So I wrote here too, interested if you want to come to New Jersey to hang out with me. Are guys in Ohio that lame? Making just a clever joke. Now, she put in her profile that she was interested in finding someone for a casual yet adult relationship. Clearly, and she made it very clear she was looking for sex. Very clear. I am not looking to have sex with a woman in Ohio. I don't need that. But I am interested in the mindset of a woman in Ohio who is going to match with a guy who's in New Jersey if she's only looking for sex. That seems very logistically difficult. So I asked that, and she says, you're welcome to come here. Me as a woman travel that far for dick? Seriously? And I said, you matched with me, so I was curious. She's already offended that I won't drive to Ohio to have sex with. So then she says, whatever happened to men being gentlemen? Guess that doesn't exist anymore. Fucking sad. Okay? Then I wrote back, is this the next one? Oh, I wrote, I am a gentleman. Sorry, it's just moving down one little tick here. I am a gentleman. I'm not going to drive to Ohio to fuck someone. Right? Isn't that the gentlemanly thing to do?
This whole line of questioning is questionable, but go ahead.
So then she responds, you matched with me? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And okay, then we're clear. Now she's very angry at me because I said, she matched with me. I'm just interested in the mindset. I said, I was wondering why a woman in Ohio would match with me. I spelled me wrong, whatever. I am not a desperate hoe. How did this turn into that? I said, me, sorry. And I said, the only way I can ask is to match back. And this is 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm using my thumbs, so I'm typing. Types are the ones that with all the typos are mine on this one. The only way I can ask this woman what her mindset is, Scott, is if I match back with her. And so what I'm trying to explain to her is the only reason I match back with you is because I wanted to get in your mindset. I wanted to know why a woman who's looking for a hookup is going to ask a guy 3 states over to hook up. It doesn't make sense. I'm gorgeous, so screw you. Out of curiosity, duh. I said, screw me. Find a desperate whore there then. And I said, only if you drive to New Jersey. That was not in reference to her saying the desperate whore. That was her saying, screw you. And I was like, screw me, only if you come to New Jersey. But
oh, gotcha.
And then I unmatched with her.
Yeah.
Have you had anything like that?
No, you have way more time on your hands to match with people that I would never ever match with. I'm not matching with anyone. I'm not matching with anyone from a different like from a state that far away. I'm not matching with anyone with a face tattoo. Like, just if anyone out there is listening that I might be going out with now, or in the future, if you have a face tattoo, don't match with me. And if you live in Ohio, don't match with me.
Okay, so speaking of people who want to match with you, I actually matched with an awesome woman on one of the sites in New York. And I said to her, I was like, look, you're 83 miles away. And if you were 8.3 miles away, I'd be like spending the rest of the day trying to figure out how to hang out with you. But I wanted you to know that I think you're awesome. And she was like, this is really nice. I really appreciate it. And I said, I should say it with my brother. And she was like, I don't know if you're serious about that. That's like a weird thing to say unless you're serious. And I said, well, she's a little bit younger than me, so she'd be a lot younger than you. And I said, it might not be the worst thing. It's a little weird for me to be setting you up with people, but like I've matched with a lot of people in the New York area. I'm not driving up there for like a regular relationship, like a one-off thing, or going to New Year's or whatever. I'd love to do that. Go to the Hamptons on a holiday in summer. Like that'd be an adventure. I'm not going up there every weekend to date someone, but you're up there. So you might get a text from a woman, a nice Jewish woman from the city. Just a heads up on that. What I was not as thrilled about, I mentioned last week or on the last episode that a woman who I matched with, who we might end up being friends, she said that my vocabulary is great, and that she's likes me because of that. And I said, we're probably gonna end up being friends. I said that on the show. She listened to the show and she's like, I'm cool with just being friends with smart people. So if that's what we are, then that's what we are. I thought we had established that already, but I guess I said it on the show. She then wrote to me, by the way, since your brother's single, I wouldn't mind being set up with him. She lives 2 towns from me. So now she's willing to drive 2 hours to hang out with you. That's how much that I'm pimping you out on this show and making you look like a superstar for all these women. That literally a woman who matched with me online is willing to drive 2 hours just to hang out with you. By the way, just a footnote that she says to me, this is the greatest compliment I have ever gotten from someone in maybe my entire life. And now I lost it, of course. So she's talking about how much she likes you and blah, 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 and how I make her feel better about herself because she's having 12 simultaneous conversations. And I told her I was having 24. I told the show I was having 24. She said, quote, your brain is impressive and terrifying. And I said to her, I was like, hold on, now I kind of want to make out with you. So it's just hold off on my brother.
She's right about your brain. I don't know why.
I mean, that's the headline for the show at this point, right? Thank you.
My brain is, terrifying.
Impressive and terrifying.
I don't know. Have I asked, like, do you think I need some help in terms of like dating?
Why?
You're saying you're saying that you're pimping me out. I think I'm gaining plenty of momentum on my own merit.
Face tattoos and Ohioans notwithstanding, I match with a lot of very awesome, very attractive, both physically and contextually, intellectually mostly, women that some of them live in your area. Now, like the woman who lives in between us in like Manalapan, like I'm not giving you her information because that's worth the drive for me. But like north of you or northeast of you, I think that's fair game. I'm trying to help. I'm not trying to help you. I'm not saying you need the help. I'm saying I found really nice women who I think I would be a good match with, but I live too far away from them. So I'm trying to help them by giving them access to you. You didn't get that? That was the biggest compliment I could ever give you.
Thank you. I appreciate you clearing up the fact that
not anymore.
You think highly enough about me that, by the way, you're right. they'd be thrilled if you did hook them up with me. I'm not saying that I'm fishing in your ponds, but
I just still can't get over the fact that you don't talk politics. Like in this date, like you went out on a date or whatever. You talked to how many women over the last week, like on FaceTime and on dates and stuff. Like people call those dates, but they're not really dates, whatever. If coffee's not a date, FaceTime's not a date. But you're telling me in none of those conversations did politics come up? Popular events, current events.
One person asked me, she said, I just want to be clear, you hate Trump as much as I do. She did say that.
Okay.
And that was all the politics we talked about, and we moved on.
Yeah. I mean, joke's on me because I didn't say that last week. I didn't think I would need to. And now I realize that I do. You definitely need to. You definitely need to disclose.
I'm being serious though. I genuinely have so much great content to talk about, and I ask a ton of questions, as you know. So I like to find out about them. I don't ask political questions, and it doesn't come up, and they're happy. And I think that's a good way to get to know people. I understand that you need to be aligned in some respects politically. I don't have the same exact political views as you. So I mean, I'm just different in that sense.
And look, and there's something somewhat admirable about that's not, hamstringing you or whatever into finding people, but it's very interesting to me that's not on your HR checklist. I mean, that seems to be one of the biggest things that for sustainability of relationship, to be on opposite sides of that. This is not like, what side of the aisle are you on?
Paula
This
Abdul,
is like,
buddy.
Are
Paula
you insane
Abdul,
or not?
Right? No, it's not. Opposites might attract in some respects. So maybe that's my opposites attract sometimes.
Well, if the opposites are someone who actually cares about politics and you, then okay, then that might be opposites attract. But if somebody is like, anyway,
I didn't say I don't care about politics.
We can't go down this road because I think I'm going to explode my head. But
it's not an exploding head kind of thing. All I'm saying, just to be clear and to finish this, is that I have plenty of things to talk about, of which oftentimes politics is not one of them. I'm not interested in talking about politics. It's boring. It's
current.
I understand
events,
it's I understand
like, what's
current
going on in the world,
but it's also, but current events are also how are you working during a pandemic? Like, what are your kids doing? Did you not talk
to a woman this weekend where you said she's going away and you're like, you're going to an area where people don't wear masks? And wasn't that part of the conversation?
So did I.
But that's politics. That conversation right there about not wearing masks is political. Everything is politics right now. That's my point. The world is
not to me. It wasn't about politics. It was about, are you going to be healthy or not? Like, you're going to a state that they're a little looser about things. Yes, you view that as political. I view it as, maybe there's just it's a warmer climate and people are outside. I think people in the Northeast, when it was warmer, they were outside and didn't care as much either. I think now it's a little bit harder because it's cold and people are inside.
That's fine.
And
look, and I know you're the Michael Jordan of brothers talking about dating podcasts or talking about being divorced, that, Republicans buy divorce too, or whatever. What are we selling? We're not selling divorce.
We're not selling. I'm not pro divorce at all. We're selling
love.
We're selling hope.
Oh, that's good. Oh my God. Yeah, we're ending on that. We're selling hope. Politically independent hope. What else you got? I just got a text from our good friend Nicole Ananda. Happy Monday. I'm listening to your latest podcast. You and Scott are so funny together. When are we doing Ask the Sexpert? Bam! She's coming back on. That's the segment we're calling it, by the way. So if you have questions out there, I'm 100% serious about this because she just asked. If you have questions for someone who knows all about not just relationships, but really like any questions you have about getting, if you're out of a relationship, how many people, the woman I actually went out with this weekend, I'm not going to tell too much about it, but I was the first date she went out with in months. And so like, there's anxieties there. There's issues that you have to overcome. If you have questions about that, if you're nervous about somebody new, if you're nervous about what to do with Corona related things, when you have to do with that, anything sex or sex adjacent, send it to us. You can send it to Scott if you'd rather, Scott@divorcedadplaybook.com, Dan@divorcedadplaybook.com, because Nicole is going to be on in one of the next few episodes to answer these questions. And trust me, it's worth asking the questions. She's amazing. And she just sent, I literally just got it, which is a great way to end the show.
Tell her I said hi. I will be on that episode this time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, that's not even a question.
Not the episode. I was on the episode, but the interview itself. Like, you guys did that without me, which was funny at the time. But I think now, she has a lot to say, and I think we have a lot of people that want to hear it. And I think you and I will ask very different questions. So,
well, I asked all the questions that I had with her because we talked about my experience. And I think that was a very candid episode for us. And I asked people who meet me like, oh, what episode should we go back and listen to? To me, go back and listen to episode 5. Episode 4, she's 4. Is she 4 or 5? Episode 4, episode 5. Yeah. So 4, 5, and 9, I think, are the 3 in that first group that I want you to listen to learn a little bit more about me. That's what I would say. 4, 5, and 9, I believe, are the ones. But anyway, she's in 5, right? 5.
Yeah. So I think she's.
Go ahead.
Great.
Floor's yours. This just happened, so I apologize.
Yeah. No, she's great. I will say, and something we'll talk about, and I kid obviously a little bit. I know you it was funny how you said it, the S&M,
scrubbing and mopping,
like scrubbing and mopping. I think part of the point of why I was thinking that way is because I didn't have my kids as much this past weekend, and those times when you're going through dating, and if you are dating anyone with children, they go through a lot of same things. And I think that's a lot of what I talk about too, is the relationship that these women have with their kids, and to make sure that it's a good relationship, it's a strong relationship, whatever has been working. But it makes me think about the times, it makes me think about a lot. It makes me think about if they're a good mom, then they could be a good partner. I do think that. And if they miss their kids when they're not around, I miss my kids when they're not around too. So I know we were joking around also about opposites attract. I think that maybe in some respects, some things that could be the case, but I do look for those types of characteristics, that if somebody's a good mom, somebody's caring about their kids, caring about the kids' future, then they're going to care about our future together too. So kind of to round it all out, I think that the dating thing is interesting to me because it gives me a chance to think about how I am as a father and ultimately as a partner, and how they are in this case as a mother and ultimately as a partner. So I think that the kids part really matters if they have kids. If they don't, then they don't. Then that's a different set of circumstances, different conversations. Mm-hmm. But it matters to me, it matters to me, regardless of what we're talking about. We are helping people, and in the back of my mind is always the case that no matter what I'm trying to do for myself, it's kids first.